Okay, let's bring in Khalil Charles. He is TRT World's news editor for more on this. Now, Khalil, people in Sudan have been protesting for 2 months now. What this mean now? What this decision will mean for them now?
Well, effectively, this decision means there's an end, or could be a violent end, to the protest. The state of emergency, the parameters has not been discussed yet, but it's likely that people will be no freedom of movement, people cannot gather, and there'll be a set time deadline when everybody's got to be off the streets. So for at least 1 year, we're going to see a situation where any chance of protesting or any chance of going out in the streets peacefully may be stopped by the army, because that's the difference also with state of emergency. Up until now, the police and the security services have been policing the demonstrations, but now the army will hit the streets, and that means, of course, there'll be more force in preventing the demonstrations from going ahead.
And of course, we've been following this story for a while now. Many people lost their lives in these protests, isn't it?
Yes, there are different accounts of how many people have lost their lives. The official figure by the government is around about 30, 32. But the demonstrators who have knowledge of this say there's around about 57, going on to 60 people that have lost their lives in some very kind of cruel circumstances. What we're going to see is that we've already heard the response from many of the demonstrators on social media who've released blogs and put out posts saying they will not accept that al-Bashir will continue in government, and their central demand that he leaves is going to continue, and they will prepare to do anything to continue the demonstrations, like you said, that's been going on for nearly 2 months now.
Now, this all started because of the price increases in the country and the economy, the bad economy and inflation. And then suddenly the protesters started to demand Omar al-Bashir to step down. Is he responsible for the economy in the country, the current situation?
Well, of course, the government will say that Omar al-Bashir and his government have been trying, in the face of difficult sanctions from outside, sanctions that were lifted in part, but are still causing economic difficulties in the country. But it has to be said, there's mismanagement and corruption that's been there for some years now, and this has contributed to the way in which the country has been run. And over the years, it's just been a downward spiral, in the sense that after the country separated between South Sudan and Sudan, it left a situation where 75% of the oil revenue was taken to South Sudan. So this meant they had to try and, find some way of filling that gap. They haven't managed to do that. And in these difficult circumstances, people have had difficulties in getting bread, difficulties in getting petrol and fuel, and also getting their own money out of cash machines. That's been an ongoing, everyday, problem for most people in the country.
Okay, Khalil Charles, TRT World's news editor, thanks so much for coming in.